Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sober Bliss Meets. Today I'm delighted because I'm joined by the gorgeous Sally Oddy. Sally is the clarity coach, and you help purpose-driven coaches to increase their impact and income. Is that right, Sally?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here today.
Oh, I'm so excited, and we're here to talk about your journey around your relationship with alcohol. And you're going through a thing at the moment, aren't you? So, do you want to just tell us, why you're doing this, what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm an oversharer, so everyone get ready for a lot of information. So at the moment, I'm actually in I'm in menopause as well. So I'm 44 years old. I've been in menopause a couple of years, and for anyone who's in menopause or perimenopause, the symptoms can be pretty horrendous. And I've certainly found over the last couple of years that my tolerance for alcohol and the impact alcohol has on me has been way worse than ever before. Um, Somewhere last night that estrogen actually increases the impact that alcohol has on you. And obviously, I'm putting estrogen gel on myself every single day. So it's hardly any wonder, actually, that alcohol is having a really adverse impact on me.
Yeah.
So last year, I gave up drinking for about 3 months. And amazingly, all of my menopause symptoms just went away. And then foolishly, I started again, and I thought, oh, I'll just have, a couple once a week. I started doing that kind of like, bargaining and making it all seem really reasonable in my head. And then just before you know it, you're back on to a glass of wine a night, or a couple of glasses here, a couple of glasses there. And it's not as though I was drinking a lot. Like I would have maybe 4 nights a week, a couple of glasses of wine maximum. So I was actually not entirely unhappy with the amount I was drinking. I was unhappy with how it was making me feel, and the fact that I was thinking about it too much. It was just invading my thoughts, because obviously I wasn't really happy with it really, and I knew that it was impacting me negatively, emotionally and physically. And I was getting annoyed at myself that I wasn't able to just stop.
Yeah, that makes a huge amount of sense. And actually, I don't think it has to be horrible to want it to be better. And even just like you said, the thoughts taking up a lot of time and a lot of headspace and a lot of energy, it does get in the way of, you know, other things. It gets in the way of what you want to do with your life, with your job, with your work, everything. Um, so what kind of prompted you this time around to have another alcohol-free spell?
Well, my menopause symptoms have been really, really bad over the last few months. I think obviously at the moment when we're doing this interview, we're kind of coming out of COVID. So we've had this huge lockdown and this really uncertain period in the world. And I think like a lot of people, when that all started happening, I mean, I'm a bit of an anxious person anyway, and my anxiety was quite high. And so stupidly, you just turn to the wine sometimes. So I feel like over the last few months, I've kind of got myself into a really bad habit of, for a little while I was drinking wine every night, and I was definitely drinking more frequently than I had been for a while. And my menopause symptoms were just getting to a stage where it was really interfering. Obviously, I'm a solo entrepreneur. It's just me. I am very, very driven, very passionate, very ambitious, very energetic normally. But it was getting to a stage where there was like a few days a month where I was just useless. Like I just couldn't physically concentrate. I couldn't do anything. I was super tired. So my symptoms were just getting really bad. And it was literally like, even if I had one glass of wine on an evening, I wouldn't sleep well. I would wake up in the night with sweats and anxiety. And then I would wake up in the morning super early, but I'd be like groggy and tired and struggling to focus and just feeling out of sorts. And to be honest, I do feel like I don't have time to waste.
Yes.
You know, I feel like I'm on a journey, I'm on a path, I've got stuff I want to do, and I actually don't want to waste my time, effort, or energy on anything that's not serving me anymore. Like, I just don't have time for that at the moment. That's how I'm feeling at the moment right now. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I said to you, I don't know if I'm going to quit for good or quit for a year, or like, I'm not really like putting a specific thing on it. But what I know in my heart is, for right now, alcohol is really not serving me, and actually it's harming me. So, like, why continue to do it? So it's been kind of looping around in my head for a couple of months, because I think with me, it does take me a while. Once I've kind of made a decision, then I kind of need to G myself up to actually do it. But funnily enough, the same thing happened last time. Once I've decided to stop, that's it. Like, I don't even think about it. You know what I mean? I seem to be able to do it really easily once I've set my mind to it.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I often refer to a quote by Michael Jordan, and it's once I made the decision, I never thought about it again. And it's so true. You've just kind of highlighted that, beautifully, because I think a lot of it is what goes on in our head. And when we can make the decision, whatever it might be, when I quit, I didn't say I was going to quit forever. I didn't even say I was going to quit for a month. I just said, yeah, I'm not drinking. And it was that decision, like you said, it was kind of like, oh, thank God, I don't have to think about it anymore. I don't have to worry about it anymore. And it was just like, kind of took off from there, if you know what I mean. And I think it is that sense of freedom and liberation that comes with making that decision. Obviously, it might take a while to get there, but once you do, then you're off, if you like, which is so amazing to see and to feel.
Try to keep it up and to not go back.
Yeah, exactly. That's, what was being in my head since the beginning. Like, I'm not drinking, no matter what. And again, it wasn't like I'm not drinking for a year, no matter what. I'm not drinking forever, no matter what. It was just, I'm not drinking. And that gave me the opportunity to explore other things, because often we think it's a case of drink or not drink. That's the only choice we've got. But really, it's not drinking is more than just not actually physically drinking. It opens up a whole new world, because then you kind of begin to explore, how do I want to feel? What can I do to help me feel that way? And because you've taken away the drinking equation, then that kind of frees you up to explore what else is out there. Have you found that you've been exploring other avenues to help you feel how you want to feel?
Well, it's funny because I read something the other day that said one of the reasons we drink is because we want to feel something. We want to feel different. We either want to feel relieved or relaxed or happy or more confident or whatever. And when I heard that, I thought to myself, well, alcohol just makes me feel like crap. Like, I've realized actually I don't even like feeling tipsy. I start to feel really fuzzy. I can't really concentrate on what I'm saying. I can't, like, I actually don't like the way it makes me feel. So like, why there's literally no reason for me to drink it. Like, I don't like the taste that much that I've got to drink it. But I suppose I have been journaling loads. I'm a very creative person anyway, and I'm actually about to start, I haven't started it yet, but I'm about to start the Artist's Way, which is like a 12-week creativity program. Because a big thing for me with the alcohol was creativity is probably the most important thing in my life, really. I've realized as I'm getting older, and alcohol was definitely suppressing or harming my creativity. So now that I'm not drinking, I'm just looking forward to being more creative. Like, I want to write my first book. There's a lot of stuff I want to do. And alcohol's just getting in my way. you know. So, and it's like, it's interesting that you say as well that you didn't kind of say, oh, I'm going to stop for a month or for 2 months or for a year, because I kind of feel like for me, I'm a bit of a rebel, and even if I say to myself I'm going to stop for a month, I know the rebel in me will sabotage that. So I think for me, I'm better off just kind of keeping it a bit open and seeing where it goes. But I think in the back of my mind, I am thinking it'll be for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It's going to get in the way of me doing that.
Yeah, I lost you for a second. It froze a
Oh,
bit.
sorry.
That's all right. So yeah, you're not putting a specific time frame on it. You're just going to leave it open and see what happens. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's like you know, the sober curious movement, isn't it? Where we just kind of see what happens, see how we feel, see what comes up. Because it's a journey.
And also, to be honest, there is a part of me that thinks to myself, yeah, it is a journey. And I think there is a part of me that thinks, you know, if I go to a nice restaurant and have a beautiful meal, like I want to actually be able to enjoy one glass of wine, and for it not be a big huge thing, you know. That's like, I don't want to do that now, like that's because I'm detoxing and I feel like I'm cleansing. And I think when you start on this journey, I feel like you need that period of time to kind of move your body and mind and emotions away from alcohol. But in time, yeah, I would like to be able to go and have a steak and a nice glass of red wine, and then not have another drink again for months and months and months. Or if someone is celebrating something, yeah, I would like to have a glass of champagne, but then maybe not have anything else for months and months and months. So I think that's why, like, for me saying I'm not drinking, I'm never drinking again, like, I just don't feel that's going to work for me right now. So it's like you say, it's that sober curious. I'm just on this journey. I'm not placing too many sort of firm parameters on myself, and I'll just see how it goes, really.
Yeah, I think that's honestly the best thing to do, because we're all different. And if you do start putting kind of restrictions on it, then it can feel scary, it can feel uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, we have to do what feels right for us. And changing our relationship with alcohol is different for everybody, and it's a personal thing. So I completely agree that you're doing the right thing. I also agree that we do need a proper break. Because, you know, not drinking during the week and then drinking at the weekend, that's not really a proper break. Or even maybe just a month off. I personally don't think that's long enough either. But yeah, you're so right. You do need to put that distance between yourself and the alcohol so that you can work out what it is that you really want at the end of the day. That's what's important.
Yeah.
So what kind of...
And I'll tell you, it's not been bothering me at all. Like, my husband's still drinking. So like I literally like 2 nights ago, I poured him a glass of wine with dinner and I gave it to him, and I'm not even like, ooh, I'd love a glass of wine now. Like, just nothing. It's just it's like a tap has switched off. It's so weird.
Wow.
But the same thing happened when I did it last year. And I quit coffee, I quit sugar, and it was the same thing. It had been bothering me for months and months and months. And then literally one day I was like, I will just no longer do this. And I just didn't. And it just never bothered me again. It's so strange. It is like a switch. Just
yeah. Wow, that is interesting. I was just going to ask you, what kind of experiences have you had so far in this period of time about, you know, other people and how you're feeling physically?
Well, obviously, because we've had lockdown, because we're kind of lockdown, COVID, nothing's really open. I haven't really had many social experiences, although I am going out for dinner tonight to a beautiful steak restaurant, but I intend to have soda and cranberry, so I've already thought about what I'm going to have to drink, and so I'm kind of, you know, prepared myself. But last year when I did it, sort of, I think it was August, September, October, I did it last year, And obviously I went out with friends. I mean, I don't go out like, you know, to clubs or stuff anymore, but like going out for dinners or lunches. And it was funny actually, because it bothered some of my friends more than it bothered me. And I seem to be okay going out and not drinking. To be honest, I prefer drinking at home anyway. Like I prefer having a couple of glasses of wine at home. When I'm out, I'm actually quite happy not to drink anything. So it doesn't bother me going out socially, but that is an interesting point, how I think when you stop drinking, you've kind of got to be prepared that people are going to react in different ways. And it's always super interesting, because I think obviously how they react is a reflection of their own feeling about their own relationship with alcohol, as opposed to anything that you're doing. So I feel like you've almost got to be ready to allow the people in your life to react however they want to react. And you've almost just got to kind of take it and suck it up a little bit, because they're reacting from their place of feeling, nothing to do with you. But I think that when you stop drinking, that can be a real big challenge actually. You know, like I literally had a friend say to me last year, when I'd stopped drinking, and I was like, oh, you know, should we go out for dinner? And she was like, oh, well, we can get a taxi. And I said, oh, well, I'm not drinking, so I can just drive. Like, it's amazing. And she was like, oh, you're not drinking. Maybe we should reschedule for when you're back on the drink. And I was like, wow, okay, that's really interesting. So you don't even want to see me if I'm not drinking wine. Like, that's crazy. So I feel like people need to kind of be prepared for a really wide, I was called boring, like, oh, I've got it all last year, and I'm drinking from a variety of people. So I think that's a really interesting part of the journey to go through, actually, is to see how people react to you. It's really fascinating, actually.
Yeah, it is. And often it can be what kind of stops us, because I think we worry a lot about how other people are going to react or what they might say. And sometimes it's easier just to not do what we want to do because we're thinking about other people, when really, you know, what other people think of us is none of our business. We just have to, as you say, be prepared that we might get weird comments or weird reactions, but it's nothing to do with us at the end of the day. But yeah, I can imagine that you've had some weird.
You know what I also think interesting, actually? I think a lot of us women who don't drink excessively, we're not alcoholics. We're not. We don't have a physical addiction to alcohol. We might be dependent, but we don't have a physical addiction to alcohol. I think that when you go alcohol free and then you say to someone, oh, I've stopped drinking, you worry that the assumption is going to be that you had a problem with alcohol, or that you were an alcoholic. So I almost feel there's some sort of fear that there's going to be a negative thought going in on, oh, she's stopped drinking. Jesus, I didn't know she had an actual problem. Oh my God, was she an alcoholic? You know, I think that's something we worry about, you know, when saying to people, I've stopped drinking. You know, so it's all these little things, I think, that go on and that can really sabotage. Like you say, if it's what you want to do in your heart, like, it doesn't really matter what anyone else is doing or what everyone else says about it. Like, it's your journey, it's your life, you know. And I also think a lot of women think, oh, well, if she can do it, why can't I? But fundamentally, if it's negatively impacting your life, your well-being, your physical and emotional health, then it could be fine for her, but it's not fine for you, and that's all that matters.
Exactly, because we do compare ourselves to other people a lot, don't we? And we do base other people's drinking on our own decisions. You know, like you've just said, you see someone and they seem to be able to drink normally, and you think, oh, well, if she can do it, then I can do it. Or you might go into Google and then you kind of choose the responses that you kind of want to hear, or you say things that you think that they want to hear, and you're either, yay, Google says I'm not, you know, I haven't got a problem, I can carry on drinking, or yay, Google says that I do have a problem, I have to stop. But really, it's about you at the end of the day. Like you just said, if it doesn't make you happy, or if you think that you could be happier or feel better, then that's good enough reason in itself,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's the thing. It's all about, you know, I talk about alignment a lot as a business coach, and it is all about being in alignment. And I feel like when you're not, you know it, because you can feel it, you can sense it. Like things just feel off, things
Yeah.
don't feel right. Like if you're having a recurring not happy with the way alcohol is making me feel, then that's your soul, your inner voice or whatever telling you that you're out of alignment, that this isn't right for you right now. And that's the thing. And I think it's important, again, if it's not right for you right now, that's fine. It doesn't mean it's not going to be right for you in a year. It
Yeah.
just means it's not right for you right now. You know, I just think you just
Yeah.
need to, we all just need to listen to our own inner voices more, you know, because they
Yeah.
won't ever lead us wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That's so powerful. And I think it's important because a lot of people don't listen to themselves enough. They do try and carry on and squash the voice down and look around at the world that we're in, maybe see other business owners or our colleagues all having a fine old time where wine or alcohol in general is a big part of the culture. And we think that we have to do it too, to fit in or to give the impression that we're successful because we're stood, I don't know, at the bottom of the Eiffel Tower with a glass of champagne in our hand or whatever it might be. But really, I don't think anybody really knows what other people are going through in their own homes. So the outward kind of perception that they give might not be true anyway. But like you said, it's coming back to us, to listening to our voice, listening to our intuition, and doing what's right for us at that particular moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I say, I mean, I'm very much in the sort of entrepreneurial world, and I definitely see a huge trend towards entrepreneurs not drinking alcohol, you know, and I've actually seen a lot of very, very successful entrepreneurs step forward and say, you know, you've got to master your health. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, the first thing you've got to do is master your health. And alcohol is never, ever, ever going to serve you towards becoming a successful business owner. You know, it's going to hinder your progress massively. And, you know, it's like I said, I'm super serious about my business. I'm super ambitious. And like, I'm just not letting anything stand in my way, you know. And if alcohol is one of those things, then for now it has to move to the side.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I love it. So what kind of benefits have you noticed so far in terms of your business?
Well, I'm sleeping better,
Yeah.
which in itself makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I'm an early riser anyway, so I normally wake up between 5 and 6:30. But when I wake up, when I've not had any alcohol, I'm wide awake. I exercise, I meditate, I journal. If I've had some wine the night before, I don't have the patience or the impetus to do any of that stuff. You know, I'm at my desk, I'm focused, I've got more energy, I can concentrate better, my creativity is flowing. Like, I mean, let's face it, the benefits of not drinking are so many. Like, it's hard to actually put into words like how many health and mental well-being benefits there are to not drinking. It's funny, I read something again the other day that said when you've been drinking and you have a hangover, the symptoms you have in your hangover are actually the early stages of alcohol withdrawal. You know, so when you think about, oh, I've just got a really bad hangover, that's your body like actually withdrawing from alcohol. You know, when you think about that, it's quite actually, you know, that you're poisoning your body to such a degree that it's suffering a physical withdrawal the next day. Like, it's shocking actually.
Yeah, it is. And often the cravings that we get for alcohol is just the withdrawal process. So when we have a drink to ease the craving, we're actually just easing the withdrawal. So you're constantly just topping yourself up, I suppose, and staying in that cycle. So no wonder, you know, it's difficult when we stop because of the withdrawal and the detox. But actually, it's kind of our body saying, thank you, giving me a break.
Yeah. It's when you give up anything. You have, like I said, when I gave up caffeine, when I gave up sugar, I used to be a smoker. When I gave up smoking 13 years ago, you know, when you give up anything that has that alters your state of your body somehow, I think you're going to have a physical reaction to it.
Yeah.
But I think with alcohol, definitely, you know, obviously there are different stages and different severity of symptoms and things, but I think if you're going through symptoms that you can manage, you know, I advise just drink lots of water, indulge in some sweet treats, rest, nap, watch Netflix, just relax, and it'll pass. You know what I mean? You'll be able to get through it. You've got to kind of, I feel like you've got to be really kind and gentle to yourself in those early days, and just give yourself time to rest and kind of really nourish yourself in other ways.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely something. Your tooth, it goes through the roof, because not only are you withdrawing from alcohol, you are withdrawing from sugar as well. So yeah, my sweet tooth has been ping, 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 ping.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's okay, I think, at the end of the day. You know, you do need to treat yourself and look after yourself and do whatever it takes to feel good, especially in the early days of it. And I just wanted to ask you as well, you know, you're obviously very busy, you're hugely passionate about your job, you put a lot of time and effort and energy into it. So when it gets to the end of the day or the end of the week and you want to relax, because let's face it, we all deserve to relax and chill out, how are you doing that now as opposed to reaching for a glass of wine?
So I'm using the same strategy that I used last year when I stopped for like 3 months, and it's called Seedlip. So it's that non-alcoholic gin, which I'm obsessed with, and is so like, if you're a gin and tonic lover, like, and I know that some people don't like placebo alcohol because they feel it's a slippery slope back in, but for me last year I literally had at the end of the day I have a Seedlip. Every day I have a Seedlip. Maybe on a Friday I'll have 2. Woo! But to be honest, because the flavor profile is so similar to gin, you know, it's a complexly distilled herb and fruit based tonic, I suppose you'd call it. Like the flavor profile is very similar to gin. So for me, having that at the end of the day, almost like all the benefits of having a gin and tonic without the fuzzy head and feeling groggy and the headache. So I rely on, because I like, at the end of the day, I like to have that special grown-up drink, you know, that I make it, it's the whole kind of ritual, then I sit down, I'm like, you know, so, but for me, non-alcoholic gin seems to work. So that's what I'm a big proponent of. I'm a big fan of the non-alcoholic gins.
Yeah.
And I throw blueberries in and strawberries, and, you know, I make it super special. But yeah, and to be honest, I normally find that once I have one of those, any craving I might have for wine is gone. By the time I drink, then I've had my dinner, I have a cup of tea, and then I'm not thinking about wine anymore anyway.
Yeah, that's important, I think, to still have something delicious to drink, because why shouldn't we? And now, luckily, there are so many amazing different drinks out there. I'm a tea drinker, massive tea drinker, and I think I switched from beer to tea, and that was me. Like, so I'm probably missing out actually on all of the amazing alcohol-free alternatives that you can get now. But yeah, that's what worked for me, and I think it is finding something that works for you and that you enjoy, and it makes you feel good. And often I think it's just sitting down with something nice. That's all we need, really. And maybe it's the thought sometimes, the thought of having a glass of wine that actually makes us feel relaxed, and not the actual glass of wine itself.
Yeah. I bought last year, actually, when I went sober last year, I bought, you know, the old Sodastream machine.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yes, I bought a Sodastream machine, and so when I'm not having seedlet, I just make soda water and put some cordial and some berries in one of those nice big gin and tonic glasses.
yeah,
So even if I'm just having a like a cordial drink, I try and try and jazz it up a little bit at the end of the day,
yeah,
to make it just feel that little bit more special and like a little celebratory end of the day kind of mocktail, I suppose. So
yeah,
yeah, so that's definitely what's worked for me, definitely. And then, like I say, once you've had one, you're not bothered a glass of wine, actually.
yeah. That's so true. Because often we think, oh my God, I've got to get through the whole afternoon. What am I going to do? But you don't feel the same at 6 o'clock as that you do it, I don't know, 7, 8, or 9 o'clock. So getting through that first hour even, or sometimes it's even just the first 20 minutes. And once you can do that, then it does free up the rest of the
You know
afternoon.
what? When you say that now, it just reminds me, actually, when I stopped smoking all those years ago, so as I was getting ready to stop, I'd kind of got down to like 5 cigarettes a day or something, which even now makes me feel physically ill, even saying that.
Yeah.
But I read something back then, and it's so true, actually. When you're quitting smoking, you just have to quit 1 cigarette at a time.
Yeah.
So if you normally have your first cigarette at 5 o'clock, have your first cigarette at 6 o'clock. If you normally have your first cigarette at 6 o'clock, have it at 7 o'clock. So you're kind of, you're just giving up one at a time. So if you're craving that glass of wine at 6 o'clock, have a seedlip and tonic or a fancy cool drink instead.
Yeah.
And then you probably won't want that glass of wine anyway. So if you're just thinking about, it's like, I think sometimes we think too far ahead, and we think about the how, and we place ourselves in a future space, and then it can seem really big and overwhelming. Whereas if you just focus on here right now, right, I'm craving wine, what can I do right here right now to make myself feel better? And a craving actually only lasts 10 minutes, hey? So all you actually need to do is get through 10 minutes, and the craving will actually be gone.
Yeah.
Whatever you can, I think whatever you can do, whatever works for you, whatever you can do to stop yourself from having whatever that trigger glass of alcohol is at the end of the day, then you'll probably feel fine the rest of the night.
Yeah, you do. I completely agree. It is just that moment. But yeah, you're right. Often we put like, oh my God, I've got to get through the weekend, or God, the whole month, what am I going to do? And that is enough sometimes to make us not bother. But taking it moment to moment and being mindful and being aware, and just, really setting your intention that I'm going to get through this 10 minutes no matter what. And then you do feel different. You're absolutely right.
What I often do is, and it hasn't happened so much now, I have to say, because I haven't really been kind of craving it, but I know that, like, when if I do crave it, I just actually think about what it feels like to wake up with that really bad hangover.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And that's enough to stop me as well. Because when you think about waking up in the morning, and you just feel so dreadful, your heart's pounding and you're sweating, you've got that awful taste in your mouth, and you feel a bit sick, and you're full of regret and remorse, and you just feel awful. Like, whenever I do crave a glass, I'm like, really, Sally, is that really worth it? No, it's not. So that kind of helps me as well.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, mornings for me as well were just amazing once I quit, and never want to go back to that awful feeling ever again. So right now then, you are in a really, really good place. I'm so excited to see where you go from here and what happens. So will you come back and let us know how you're getting on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm in your Facebook group now,
Yeah.
Sober Bliss, so I'll be keeping you posted in there as well. So yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come back on maybe in a few months and see
Yeah.
how I'm going. Definitely.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Sally. It's so good to talk to you and just to see and feel and hear how positive and just fun you seem to be having right now. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.